Hello friends, myself Vatsalji Patel, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Today we are going to discuss about pile foundations. So first we will start with the introduction. A pile is a slender structural member made up of steel, concrete, wood or any composite material. A pile is either driven into the soil or formed inside by excavating a hole and filling it with the concrete. In case the strata of wood bearing capacity is not available near the ground, the foundation of the structure has to be taken deep with the purpose of attaining a bearing stratum which is sustainable in all aspects. So the most common forms of the deep foundation are pile foundation, caisson or well foundation and cofferdams. So uses of pile foundation. The load of the superstructure is heavy and its distribution is uneven. The topsoil has poor bearing capacity. The subsoil water is high so that pumping of water from the open trenches for the shallow foundation is difficult and uneconomical. There is large fluctuation in subsoil water level while timbering to trenches is difficult and costly. The structure is situated on the seashore or riverbed where there is a danger in scoring action of water. Canal or drip drainage line exists near the foundation. The topsoil is of expensive nature. Piles are used for limit foundation of transmission tower, offshore platform which are subjected to uplift forces. Now the factor affecting the selection of type of pile. So it will be nature of structure, loading condition, availability of funds, availability of materials and equipments, type of soil and its properties, groundwater table, self weight of pile, durability of pile, cost of pile, maintenance cost, length of pile required, number of pile required, case study of adjacent building, facility available for a pile driving, difficulties in pile driving, adaptability to varying length, presence of acid and other material in soil that will injure the pile, erosion of soil near the structure. So we will discuss some of them deeply. So first one is nature of the structure. Okay, for the structure on the land, the driven cast in place piles are usually cheapest for moderate loading and unhampered site condition. For the foundation of warp structure and that is on seashore, the driven pile or the driven cast in place case piles are preferred. In case of piling is done very near to some existing structure, open-ended tube piles or edge pile may work out to a good choice. Pile used to support marine structure or structure above open should precast type. The jack pile are suitable for underpinning existing structure. For heavy structure, large diameter board piles are the most economical type. Next, ground condition. If the subsoil consists of silt or alluvium from the appreciable depth, the pile will be act as a friction pile. In case the ground is very weak or loose and it is intended to use cast in side pile, casting will be required to prevent the inflow of soil into the pile hole. In adverse condition where the groundwater flow is strong, pile with the permanent casing should be used. Alternatively, precast pile may be used. In case the soil strata is comparatively firm, uncased cast in situ place or precast pile may be selected. For reducing the length of the pile in firm strata, pedestal pile will be more effective. In situation where it is necessary that pile should penetrate into the rock for some depth, an edge pile may work out to be a good selection. In case the soil is firm clay, drill pile with or without enlarged base may be work out a economical choice. Next one is durability. In situation where there is a possibility of the soil being chemically aggressive, high quality precast concrete piles should be selected. Timber piles may work out to be economical if they are used for the foundation of timber terrestrial structure with moderate loads or the piles are be used for protecting concrete docks etc. Timber piles are not suitable for marine conditions as they are likely to be affected by borers or insects. Next one is cost consideration. While selecting a particular type of pile, the cost of pile, cost of driving, cost of maintenance of pile and availability of fund should given the due consideration. Next one is classification of pile based on their function or use. So there are 8 types: end bearing pile, friction pile, compaction pile, tension pile, anchor pile, fender pile, batter pile and sheet pile. So first one is end bearing pile. These pile penetrate through the soft soil and their bottom or tips rest on a hard stratum. This pile act as a column. The soft material surrounding the pile provides some lateral support. You can see it in the image. Next is frictional pile. When loose soil extends to a great depth, piles are driven up to a such depth that frictional resistance develops at the side of the pile equal to the load coming on the piles. Frictional piles are used when a hard stratum is available at greater depth. The total frictional resistance can be increased in following ways: by increasing the length of pile, by increasing the diameter of pile, by making the surface of the pile rough, by placing the pile closely, by grouping the piles. So you can see the friction pile in the image. Next one is compaction pile. When piles are driven in loose granule soil with aim of increasing the bearing capacity of soil, the piles are termed as compaction pile. These piles themselves do not carry any load. You can see image of compaction pile. Next one is tension pile. This pile anchor down the structure subjected to the uplift due to hydrostatic pressure or due to overturning movement. It is also called uplift pile. So you can see in the image that friction force also acting and turning force also acting on the tension pile. Next one is anchor pile, fender pile, batter pile and seat pile. You can see all the arrangement of these piles in the image: anchor pile as well as seat pile, foundation pile, batter pile and fender pile. So now we will discuss about it. Anchor pile provide anchorage against the horizontal pull from seat piling or other pulling force. Fender piles are used to protect water from structure against impact from ships or other floating objects. Batter piles are used to resist large horizontal forces or inclined forces. Seat piles are used at the bulkheads or the as impervious cover to reduce seepage and upload hydraulic structure. Next one is classification based on material and composition, which will be timber piles, sheet pile, concrete piles and composite piles. The first one is timber piles. So you can see the whole diagram of the timber pile in the image. Timber piles are made up of tree trunk driven with the small end as a point. They may be circular or square. They are 30 to 50 cm in diameter with a length not exceeding 20 times its top width. At the bottom, a cast iron shoe is provided and the top a sheet plate is a fixed. They have small bearing capacity and are not permanent unless treated. So advantages of timber piles: economical where timber is easily available, can be driven rapidly as such save times. Because of elasticity, timber piles are recommended for the site subjected to the unusual lateral forces, say example ship, ferry terminals, etc. Do not need any heavy machinery or elaborate technical supervision. Bearing light, they can be easily handled, they can be easily withdrawn if needed. Disadvantages: these piles cannot take heavy load and any unsuitable or used as a bearing pile. Liable to decay or deteriorate by the salt water or insect. Restricted length: it is rather difficult to procure piles in required size and length. It is difficult or rather impossible to drive these piles into a hard stratum. Next one is sheet pile. You can see two types of sheet pile in the image: edge pile and rounded pile. So we will discuss. Steel piles are usually rolled S section or thick pipe section. These piles are used to withstand large impact stresses and where less distribution from driving is desired. Steel sheet piles and edge piles are generally used to support the open excavation and to provide seepage barrier. Next one is concrete piles. Concrete piles are either precast or cast in situ. Precast piles are cast and cured at the casting site and then transported to the site for the installation. These piles are adequately reinforced with the stand handling the stresses along with the working stresses. Precast piles are normally suitable for the short length. Cast in place are constructed by drilling a hole into the ground and then fill with the hole by complete after placing the reinforcement. So you can see that in the image. Next one is precast concrete piles. Precast piles are those piles which are manufactured in a factory at a place away from the construction site and then driven into the ground at the place required. This pile requires heavy pile driving machinery. Precast pile may be square, octagonal or circular in cross section and may be tempered or parallel side longitudinally. You can see all the plan and type of piles in the image. So next, precast concrete piles classification or say the main functions. The size of pile may vary from 30 cm to 50 cm in cross-sectional dimension and up to 20 or more in length. The reinforcement may consist of longitudinal steel bars of 20 mm to 40 mm in diameter, 4 to 8 nose with the ties of 6 to 10 mm diameter at 100 meter center to center spacing for top and bottom 1 meter length and 300 mm center to center spacing for the middle length. A concrete cover of at least 50 mm is provided. The grade of concrete should be M20. So, procedure for forming the precast concrete pile. The formwork for the pile is prepared and it is coated with soft solution or oil to prevent adhesion. The cage of reinforcement is prepared as per design and the cage is then placed in the formwork. A concrete cover of at least 50 mm is provided. A concrete grade M20 is prepared with the proportion 1 gem 1.5 gem 3. The size of coarse aggregate varies from 10 mm to 25 mm. The concrete is laid in the formwork and well compacted using vibrators. The forms are removed after 3 days and the piles are kept in the same position for about 7 days or so. The piles are then shifted to a curing tank and after a period of about 3 or 4 weeks they become ready for the use. Now, advantages of precast concrete pile. They will be cast well before the commencement of the work, resulting in rapid execution of work. The position of reinforcement in pile is not disturbed from its original position. They can be driven underwater. The pile can be loaded soon after they have been driven to a desired depth. Any number of pile can be manufactured at a convenient place and this may prove to be economical. These piles are highly resistant to biological and chemical action of the subsoil. Now, disadvantages. These piles are heavy, therefore they require special equipment for handling and transportation. If sufficient care is not taken, these piles may break during the transportation or driving. They require heavy pile driving equipment as well. Extra reinforcement is required to bear handling and driving stresses, hence these piles are costly. The length of the pile is restricted since it depends upon the transportation facility. It is difficult to increase the length of pile previously estimated on the basis of boreholes. If the pile is found to be too long during driving, it is difficult and uneconomical to cut these piles. Next one is Raymond piles. The Raymond standard pile is used primarily as a frictional pile. It is provided with uniform taper of 1 in 30 resulting in shorter pile. The length of pile vary from 6 to 12 meter. The diameter of pile vary from 40 to 60 cm at top and 20 to 30 cm at the bottom. The shell is driven into the ground with a collapsible steel mandrel or the core it having a same paper. The shell is gradually filled with the concrete up to the top. So you can see all the types in the image. Next one is MacArthur piles. MacArthur pile is the pile of uniform diameter using corrugated steel shell which remains in place as in the Raymond piles. A heavy steel casing with a core is driven into the ground. When the desired depth is reached, the core is withdrawn and a corrugated steel shell is placed in the casing. Concrete is placed in the shell by gradually compacting it and withdrawing the steel cages. So you can see all the stages in the image. Next one is BSP base driven piles. This pile consists of helically welded shell of steel plate. A concrete plug is provided at the bottom of the shell. Driving is done by allowing pile hammer to fall on the concrete plug. The casing is driving to the desired depth and then it is filled with the concrete. So you can see its image. Next one is swage piles. Swage piles are used with the advantage in some soil where the driving is very hard or where it is desired to leave water tight shell for some time before filling the concrete. In the first stage, a steel shell is placed on a precast concrete plug and a steel core which is not long enough to reach the plug is inserted in the plug. In the second stage, the pile is driven over the plug until the core reaches the plug. The pipe is swayed out by the taper of the plug, thus forming a watertight joint. In the third stage, the pipe is driven to a specific depth or say specified depth. In the fourth stage, after the pipe was reached the desired depth, the core is removed and the pipe is filled with the concrete. So you can see it in the image. Next one is bottom piles. These piles are used in location where increase in the end bearing area is desired. These piles uses a concrete plug of shape of button. These piles have been used up to a length about 23 meter and for loads up to 50 tons. In the first stage, steel pipe with 12 mm thick walls is set on the concrete button. The concrete button has a diameter about 25 mm larger than the pipe. In the second stage, the pipe and button are driven to a specified depth. In the third stage, a corrected steel shell is inserted in the pipe resting on the bottom. In the fourth stage, the casing is withdrawn, leaving the button in place, and the shell is filled with concrete. Reinforcement may be used if necessary. So you can see all the construction procedure in image. Next one is uncased cast is in situ concrete piles, advantages and disadvantages. So advantages are these piles are cheap as no casing will be left in the ground. Special handling equipment is not required. Concrete is not liable to damage from driving. Cutting of excess length is not required. Storage space is not required. Disadvantages are great skill is required. It is likely to be damaged from subsoil pressure and ground movements which result from pile driving and obstruction in ground. Next one is simplex pile. Simplex pile can be driven to a soft or hard soil. In this type of pile, a steel tube fitted with a cast iron shoe is driven into the ground up to a desired depth. Reinforcement is necessary is put inside the tube. Concrete is then poured into the tube and the tube is slowly withdrawn, concrete being tempered, leaving behind a cast iron shoe. So you can see all the procedure in the image. Next one is Franke piles. In this type of pile, plug of dry concrete gravel is formed on the ground by heavy removable pipe shell. A diesel operated drop hammer of 20 to 30 kN weight is driven on the concrete plug. When the tube has reduced the desired depth, the tube is held in position by cables and the hammer is applied to the concrete plug, forcing it down outwards. In the next stage, the shaft is formed by introducing successive charges of concrete ramming, each in turn, and withdrawn the casing gradually about 300 mm at a time. The pile diameter in Franke piles varies from 50 cm to 60 cm, while the enlarged base may have a diameter of about 90 cm. The pile has a load carrying capacity of 60 to 90 tons. So you can see all the procedure in the image. Next one is vibro piles. These piles are used where the ground is soft, thus offering little frictional resistance to the flow of concrete. Both standard and expanded piles are formed by the vibro process. These piles are formed by driven a steel tube and so filling with the concrete and withdrawing the steel tube. Standard vibro piles are made in size of 35, 45 and 50 cm diameter for load of 60 to 70 tons. A steel tube fitted with a cast iron shoe is driven into the ground by 2 to 2.5 tons hammer operated by a steam or compressed air, delivering up to 40 blow per minute with a stroke of about 1.4 meters. So you can see it in the image. Next one is pedestal piles. These type of piles are used where thin bearing stratum is reached with the reasonable depth. The core and casing are driven together into the ground till they reach the desired level. The core is taken out and a charge of concrete is placed in the tube. The core is again placed in the casing to rest on the poured concrete. Pressure is applied on the concrete through the core and at the same time the casing is withdrawn. The process is repeated till the casing is completely removed. You can see all the procedure in the image. Next one is pressure piles. These are formed with the help of casing tube, boring auger and compressed air equipment. These piles are especially suitable for those congested state where heavy vibration and noise are not permissible. A hole is bored into the ground by means of an auger, and as the boring process, the hole is lined by a steel tube. When the tube reaches the required depth, the boring tool is withdrawn. In the second stage, a layer of concrete is laid and pressure cap is provided at the top of the tube. The process is repeated till the pile is completed. So you can see all the process in the image. Next one is under rim piles. These piles are developed by CBRI Roorkee UP for serving as a foundation for black cotton soils, filling of ground and other type of soil having poor bearing capacity. An under rim pile is a board cast in situ concrete pile having one or more bulb or under rim in its lower portion. The bulb or underrims are formed by underrimming tool. The diameter of underrim piles varies from 20 cm to 50 cm, and that of bulb varies from 2 to 3 times the diameter of pile. The length of underrim piles is about 3 meter to 8 meter. The spacing of pile may vary from 2 meter to 4 meter. The underrim piles can also be used for sandy soil with the high water table. So under rim pile you can see in the image single bulb cast in pile and multi bulb pile. So we will discuss it. The load carrying capacity of under rim pile can be increased by adopting the piles of larger diameter or by extending the length of the piles or by making more bulbs at the base. A single under rim pile has only one bulb at the bottom. When two or more bulbs are provided at the base, it is known as the multi-bulb under rim pile. The vertical spacing between two bulbs varies from 1.25 to 1.50 times the diameter of bulb. Next one is pile spacing. So you can see the pile spacing in the image. The center to center distance of successive pile is known as the pile spacing. It has to be carefully designed by considering the following factors: type of pile and material of pile, length of piles, grouping of piles, load coming on piles, obstruction during pile driving, nature of soil through which pile are passing. The spacing between pile in a group can be assumed based on the following. First one is frictional pile need higher spacing than bearing pile. Second one, minimum spacing say S between piles is 2.5 meter, and third one is maximum spacing S between piles is 8.0. So you can see all the arrangement of number of piles in this image: 2 piles, 3 piles, 4 piles, up to 7 piles, and arrangement and spacing of the piles. Next one is group of pile. So you can see all the procedure in the image. So we will discuss. Most pile foundation contain group of pile instead of a single pile. The pile forming the group of pile may be arranged in a square, rectangular, triangular, or circular as per the requirement. The bearing capacity of pile group may not be necessarily equal to the sum of the bearing capacity of individual pile forming a group. So you can see load on the load structure, pile cap, and piles lower density, medium density, and high density in the image. Next, efficiency of group piles. The efficiency of a group pile is defined as the ratio of the load carrying capacity of the pile group to the sum of the load carrying capacity of the individual pile. It is given by the equation E suffix G is equal to QGU divided by summation QU. So factors of group efficiency: the number, length, diameter, and spacing of the piles, the load transformer, friction versus bearing, the sequence of installation, the soil type, the interaction if any between the pile cap and the soil, the direction of the load applied. Next one is pile driving. The process of forcing the pile into the ground without excavation is termed as the pile driving. The pile should be driven vertically. However, a tolerance of eccentricity of 2% is allowed for the pile length permissible. The eccentricity is measured by means of plumb bob. The hammer is guided between two parallel steel members known as leads. So you can see a pile driving system in the image: crane, boom, and all the components of the pile driving system: lead, hammer, helmet, pile gate, and stabbing points. So you can see real life image also. Next, pile hammer. Types of hammer: drop hammer, single acting hammer, double acting hammer, diesel hammer, and vibratory hammer. So it is the schematic diagram of the pile driving with hammer. You can see drop hammer, hammer guide, pile, and soil. So first one is drop hammer. It has low operation, low equipment cost, and simple. So you can see it in the diagram and real life image also. So talking about the drop hammer, a hammer or a ram or monkey is raised in by winch and allowed to fall or drop by the gravity on the top of the pile. A hammer is also known as ram or monkey. The drop hammer is provided with lugs so that can slide in the leads. A lifting eye or hook is provided to tie it with the rope. The weight of drop hammer varies from 0.5 to 2 tons. The height of fall may vary from 1.5 to 3 meter. The number of blows that can be imparted varies from 4 to 8 per minute. You can see image of drop hammer. Next one is single acting hammer. If the hammer is raised by steam, compressed air, or internal combustion, but it is allowed to fall by gravity alone, it is called as a single acting hammer. The energy of such hammer is equal to the weight of the ram times the height of the fall. The weight of the single acting hammer is about 2 tons. The fall is about 1 meter, and the number of blows the hammer may vary from 50 to 60 per minute. So you can see schematic diagram and real life image of single acting hammer here. Next one is double acting hammer. The double acting hammer employs steam or air for lifting the ram and for accelerating the downward stroke. The weight of the hammer is only 500 kg, but because of accelerating effect of steam or say air or pressure, it has an effect of weight of 3 tons. It operates with the suction of rapid blow, the number varying from 100 to 200 blow per minute. For light hammer, the number of blow may vary even as high as 300 per minute. The pile driving is very quick. These hammers are very useful for driving piles under water. So you can see double acting hammer here. Next one is diesel hammer. The diesel hammer is a small, lightweight, self-contained and self-acting type using gasoline for the fuel. The total driving energy is the sum of the impact of the ram plus the energy delivered by the explosion. So you can see diesel hammer in the image. Next one is vibratory hammer. You can see the image of it. Next one is pile hammer. If driving has to be carried out by a hammer, then the following factors should be taken into the consideration: the size and weight of the pile, the driving resistance which has to be overcome to achieve the desired penetration, the available space and headroom in the site because the hammer has to be dropped from a certain height, the availability of cranes, the noise restriction which may be enforced in the locality. Next one is pile driving formulas. The ultimate load carrying capacity or ultimate bearing capacity QF of pile is defined as the maximum load which can be carried by a pile and at which the pile contains to shrink without further increase of load. The allowable load QA is the safe load which the pile can carry safely, and it is determined on the basis of ultimate bearing capacity, resistance divided by appropriate factor of safety, the permissible settlement, overall stability of the pile foundation. The load carrying capacity of a pile can be determined by following method: dynamic formula and static formula. So we will see dynamic formula first. Used for the precast concrete pile. When a pile hammer hits the pile, the total driving energy is equal to the weight of hammer times the height of drop or stroke. In addition to this, in the case of double acting hammer, some energy is also imparted by the steam pressure during the return stroke. The total downward energy is consumed by the work done in penetrating the pile and by the certain losses. The various dynamic formula are essentially based on these assumptions. So first one is engineering new formula. QA is equal to WH divided by F into bracket S plus C, where QA is equal to allowable load, W is equal to weight of hammer in kg, H is equal to height of fall in centimeter, F is equal to factor of safety, say 6, S is equal to final set or penetration per blow, usually taken as a average penetration centimeter per blow for the last 5 blow of hammer or the last 20 blow for the steam hammer. C is equal to imperial constant is equal to 2.5 centimeter for drop hammer and 0.25 centimeter for single or double acting hammer. For drop hammer, equation is WH is divided by 6 into bracket S plus 2.5. For single acting steam hammer, QA is equal to WH divided by 6 into bracket S plus 0.25, and for double acting hammer, QA is given by W plus A P into H divided by 6 into S plus 0.25, where A is equal to effective area of piston in centimeter square and P is equal to mean effective stream pressure kg per centimeter. Now Hiller's formula, or say IS formula. Indian Standard IS 2911 Part 1 1964 gives the following formula based on the original expression by Hiller. QF is equal to neta H into W into H neta B divided by S plus C by 2, where QF is equal to ultimate load on the pile, W is equal to weight of hammer in kg, H is equal to height on the drop of hammer in centimeter, S penetration or set in centimeter per blow, C is equal to total in elastic compression C1 plus C2 plus CT, where C1, C2, CT is equal to temporary elastic compression of dolly and packing, pile and soil respectively. Neta H is equal to efficiency of hammer, variable from the 65% for the same double acting steam hammers to 100% for drop hammers released by trigger. Neta B is given by efficiency of hammer blow, for example, ratio of the energy after impact of striking energy of ram. Next one is static formula. The static formula are based on the assumption that the ultimate bearing capacity QF of a pile is the sum of the total ultimate screen friction RF and total ultimate point or end bearing resistance RP. So QF is equal to given by RF plus RP. Also it is further RF is equal to AS into RF plus RP is equal to AP into RP, where AS is equal to surface area of pile upon which the skin friction acts, AP is equal to area of cross section of the pile on which bearing resistance X. For tapered piles, AP may be taken as the cross sectional area at the lower 1/3 of the ambient length. RF is equal to average unit skin friction, which may be taken equal to the unit cohesion for the cohesive soil. RP is equal to unit point or toe resistance, which may be taken as 9C for cohesive soil. So here I end my session. Thank you all of you.